Hey, welcome everybody. My name is Pierre. Happy to be here with you today. Please take it easy on me. This is my first presentation ever. I usually just teach English, so sorry for any screw ups ahead of time. Let me, and I'm also not an expert with Microsoft Teams. I used it a few times. Let me get my PowerPoint up here.
Okay, in the time let Mr. Pierre came to repair his slide, so I take a short introduction to everyone, his profile. So he got his the Bachelor of Science in Spanish and the Master of Education, and the Pierre Camp also has more than 10 years of experience in teaching English as the second language program in USA and Vietnam for all of the level of the learner. And he got the certificate with the educator in Arizona, US, and he used to be the lecturer of University of the Phoenix and Everett University in the USA. And today he come with the topic classroom management for young learner. Okay, so I take time and the presentation for him right now.
All right. Welcome, guys. Yep. So that's what I'm going to talk about classroom management, youth. We're going to focus online. Few fun facts about me. My full name is Pierre Anthony Camps Mercado, but you can just call me Pierre or Tai B. 8 years in Vietnam, 10 years teaching experience, and I speak bad Vietnamese. So it works like the more you get to know me, the more you understand me, kind of thing. Nhưng mà, nhưng mà hiểu chứ, yeah. Okay. So, starting with classroom management, in my opinion, in my experience, everything begins by setting the tone of the class from day one. Day one is a magical day that if you do it right, especially with young learners, it can set you up for a very successful term with them, especially if you work with them, the same group for a long time. Okay? You only have one chance for this. So, what we're going to cover today is you're going to set the rules. You're going to have to introduce a routine. Okay? You need to get to know your students. You need to take notes. All right? You need to make a behavioral chart, so something to track their behaviors. Okay? And students need to agree to these rules and rewards and consequences, and they need to have an understanding of them. So, with that being said, let's go to the first slide. Setting the rules. Okay. What I like to do on day one, yeah, my head is like on the way here. You know, I will send you a copy of this Excel sheet. What I like to do on day one is get to know my students. Okay. So, I like to have a class discussion. First day, I will present the students with behaviors. For example, what do we do well? What are good things? What are bad things? And I make them choose, especially with the young ones. Is this, for example, talking to friends? Is this good or bad? Bad, teacher, bad. Okay. And I have them repeat that to me. Okay. Depending on their level, you're going to have to adjust this a little bit. They might have the target vocabulary yet, they might not. Okay. So you're going to use a lot of pictures. The teachers and the students, we do that activity that I just mentioned, and we agree on the consequences for the behavior. So with the kids, I usually go, so class, if we're talking a lot in class, what should we do? Again, depending on the level, I would show the consequences and they can choose. The ones that are a little bit higher level, then they choose on their own. I try to have a little bit of knowledge prior to day one, during parent conferences and things like that, if possible. I create a classroom chart that My picture is not going to do it any justice. So let me open it up in Excel here and show it to you full scale. So let's see. I'm going to share my window now. This one. All right. You guys see that, right? So I make a chart. Hopefully everybody can see the chart. Okay. I put the student's name, tardies. Okay. Do my work, participation, behavior. Okay. Am I being a good or a bad student? Each day they will get a star or they will get a frowny face. Okay. Here are my consequences. Okay. First one is a warning. Then 5 minutes off recess, loss of recess, call parents, meet with principal. Okay, I work at an international school, so I do have that option to meet with the parents and call the principal. Some of you guys work at English language centers, and you won't have that, so you're gonna need to adjust. All right, there's no set formula. Okay, this classroom is an apple, that other classroom is an orange. Um, so you have to take that into account. Okay. Um, Let me go back to, I'm going to use this one instead. Probably be easier. Okay. So we have the students fill in their names. Now, this is the trick. I have my students fill this out. Okay. I don't um I don't do it myself. I don't keep this a secret. I put this in a very conspicuous place. You know what I mean? Just put it out there, easy to see, where the students can see how they're doing. And when students are made aware of their behaviors, they do a lot better. One of the activities, I'm going to send it to you in a chat room right now, in our chat room. Let's see here. There you go. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh, here we go. All right. I share with you guys a link right there. Okay. This is a little game that I pretty much use for all my kids' classes. After we talk about this together, okay, we do this. And I'm sorry, I forgot that we were doing online. So this chart, you're gonna keep this in for an online environment. You're gonna keep this chart open. Okay, so in the classroom, you're gonna put it on the wall. Online, you open up the chart. Um, it might be difficult to do this for a big class, but you'll find a way. Okay, maybe in a big class online, you just copy and paste the names. All right. Not all your students are going to be misbehaving. So the good ones is just going to be a quick once over. Just boom, put the little star in. The ones with the misbehavior, okay, they're the ones that are going to get the frowny face. So once you get a system going, you'll see it works. I have my classes have over 28 students. I make it work. Okay. Um, but again, what works for me might not work for you. Let's go back to that nice PowerPoint here. Okay. Rewards and consequences. All right. You need to agree with your students on rewards and consequences. Reward when appropriate, reprimand when needed. Okay. A tip with that, you need to look out for good behavior and call them out on it. Don't be one of those teachers that you're just yelling at students whenever they do something bad and then go to the classroom. Go back to your classroom duties. No, you need to be focused on good behavior. Good job, Johnny. Johnny got his assignment done. Good job, Jim. Yeah, you did it. You know? So reward them whenever possible. Whenever you see a good action, reward them on it. Tell them. Tell them when they're doing good. Don't always focus on the bad thing. Okay? And always come through with your punishments or your rewards. Let me say that one more time. Always come through with your punishments or rewards. If you don't come through, your system is not going to work. It's going to fall down immediately because hey, I'm doing good, but I'm not getting any extra game time, or I do bad, but I never seen the 5 minutes off of recess. They're not going to care. Okay. So you need to set this up and you need to do it from day one. Okay. If you get the class after day one, um, sorry, if you don't do this on day one or you didn't let it slide, it's going to make your class a lot more difficult. All right. Now, another thing we do on day one, that magical day one, guys, remember day one. We want to introduce a routine. Okay. Again, this one is more applicable for the classroom, but what to do when arriving. Give me some example, guys. What should students do when they're arriving in an online classroom? Let's talk about online right now. Give me some examples. What do you think a student should do? Regardless of what you're teaching, what the topic is, what should your student do when they log into your class? No? Okay, well, when they should chat with each other? Okay, maybe. Um, for example, when they log in, they should have their cameras on. There you go. Okay, they should have their cameras on. They should be ready to go. Face on the camera, not the camera pointing up and down. It's usually more for teenagers. But if you get teenagers, remember that they love to like point their camera up to the roof or turn it off. So from day one, remember, especially the teens. I know we're talking about youth, but the teens, remember them. Okay, they will turn that camera off. So from day one, they need to know I need face. I need to look at your mouth when you talk so that I can help you out. Okay. Once you go back to the classroom, let me see here. Okay. Where to place things, what to have or not to have on their desk, participation, what to do when leaving, what to do when leaving. Okay. So when we participate, what do we do? Do we raise our hands? There you go. Raise your hand if you have any questions. You need to set all these things up for day one. I know you know them all, but the important thing that I want to emphasize here is you need to develop a system for day one. Okay. I like to gamify. Okay. I like to do little games and little activities in the classroom, clap the board to the rule. Online, that word wall that I sent you, you can do that with routines, with Kahoot. Okay. We have all those tools available to you. When they leave, okay, when they leave an online classroom, all right, a lot of the times they start making a lot of noise, they start playing music. Okay, you've got to remind them that even though they're online, they're in a classroom. Another thing you want to remind them on day one, okay, the environment. I didn't put that in the slide. Environment is important. A lot of the times, my dad's watching football and it's very noisy here. So that student is not going to have a chance to participate. So you need to make that clear. Good job. Yeah, absolutely. Using props when you're working with young learners. Exactly. Perfect. Yep. Whatever works for you. I haven't done that, but whatever works for you. Okay. This is one of those things that um, even I don't have one system. As my classroom develops, I always do this the first day, but every classroom, I kind of do it a little bit differently. Learn from the previous one, see what works with this one. You have students that are ready to please you. You have students that they don't give a darn about you, okay? And they're gonna make noise, so you're gonna have to tweak it up a little bit as your class goes. This is another one, okay? I'm very buddy buddy with a lot of my students. All right. Um, and students don't want to disappoint me, so I get to know my students. I learn their names. So if there's any foreigners in here, it's very good to learn those Vietnamese names. You get a lot of brownie points from that. Okay. Um, don't give them a number. You can give them an English name. I prefer to use their Vietnamese name because that's what they use every day. A lot of the times, you see them later, especially some of the older ones, like, "Hey, John, John." Oh, sorry, I'm only John 1 hour a day. I forgot to how to respond to that. Okay, so in the meeting or somewhere else, they might not know who you are. Learn their likes and dislikes, guys. Um, if I can show you here, I have this notebook. Oh, you can't see it, but for my online students, sorry, I won't be able to show you the details on the notebook, but I'm flagging around a notebook right here, okay? For me, I'm a little bit old school with taking notes and stuff. I can't do that on my phone or anything like that. It would just take me too long. So I have a notebook next to me right here, and I have a page for all the students. Okay, so I learned their names. This one likes animals. This one likes skating and stuff. So I think about them when I'm preparing my lessons. Okay, I think about their likes and dislikes, and I pick out a few star students for every lesson. Oh, this is his topic, so I'm gonna pick on him more and make him a class leader. Okay, guide the other students who might be a little bit weaker. I like to do a survey. Here's a survey that I've been copying lately. They have a survey for your students. I tweak these up a little bit depending on the level. Okay, guys, Google is your best friend. Whatever you're thinking about, somebody has probably already done it. Okay, so be smart about it. Yeah. The point here is that you and your students have to agree with your punishments. Yeah. As a disclaimer with the punishments, um, oh wait, somebody says I have a question. Sometimes students don't follow the instructions of their teacher. Example, they don't finish their homework. What punishment they usually apply to make them more disciplined? Um, I make him go into a breakout room. I use Zoom for a lot of my classes. I don't know if this was referred to me. No, I think this might be before I started. I don't know if I'm seeing a message for that. But if you're talking about punishments, yeah, make him. I take him to the breakout room for 5 minutes, and I make them work by themselves. They can't chat with their friends or anything like that. It's very hard to discipline online. With the
So
link.
sorry, buddy. I was just multitasking, listening to you and answering some of the questions I didn't get around to the answer to. So kind of
Oh, okay.
right. That's why it's in caption. Okay, just to answer the previous question that were asked. I'm sorry about that, but there's no way of going to the thread back up there. They just appear on your message stream. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. I thought I got this message to me.
No, no, no. The
Sorry, I don't
message
even know how
just
this
come
thing
with the
works, really.
yeah the reply. Yeah, if you look on the message,
Gotcha.
yeah, it's actually
Gotcha. Sorry. Well, it's still kind of related to me. So remember that when you think of punishments, when you punish them online, you need to be a little bit more clever. No game, no put them in a breakout room, work by themselves. Okay. Um, and little things like that. So there you have to be a little bit more clever with those punishments. But going back to my thing, getting to know your students. So do those surveys. Okay. There's the link again in case they got lost in there or something. Okay, there's a survey for the students. If you work at a school, if you work at a language center, you're gonna have to keep everything in the classroom because they're not very involved outside of their thing. But if you work at an international school, then you'll have a chance to meet parents, meet with other teachers, meet with your support staff, and you can give parents a survey to take home. Okay, these are great because your parents, they had more experience than you with them. So if you can get feedback from the students and their parents about what they like and dislike, it'll make your lessons flow a lot better. Okay. Let me go back to the taking notes. Oh, that is not what I wanted to share. There we go. Okay, note everything. Okay, good and bad behaviors, areas where the students excelled, likes and dislikes. All right, one tip that I have for that is to keep your notes handy. Have a system where it's easy for you to make notes at a moment's notice. I use my notepad, notebook. You need to have a phone, tablet, whatever works for you. Okay. I make some squiggly notes over here that only I can understand because I normally don't share my class with anyone else. Okay. Now, while in class, the main goal is to keep the class going. You do not stop the class for every little bad behavior. Sometimes by ignoring the behavior will be extinguished. Okay. Um, if you ignore them and you don't pay attention to them, they'll stop. Okay. Luckily, online, you can just boop, put them on mute and then don't allow them to unmute again for a little while. And you can send them a little message. All right. Never embarrass them in public. All right. It is very important that you treat your students with respect. Okay. Remember, your students are also your paycheck. So if you upset them, depending on their age, that paycheck is going to go away. So you need to look at them as your business too. Also, as a person, okay, you don't like to be embarrassed in public. All right. If it's serious enough, pull the student aside. Okay. So first, you try to ignore it, see if it goes away, unless it's dangerous or bad enough. All right. Remember, if there's something dangerous, address it immediately. Let them know that that is not okay. Get someone involved. Okay. Um, Ignore unless it's dangerous. If it's serious enough that it's bothering other students' learning, pull them aside and tell them. Okay. Do everything you can in the classroom first. Excuse me. Do everything you can in the classroom first. All right. Don't get everyone involved, especially those of you that work in language centers. Okay. Um, a lot of the times, the most important thing is to keep the customer happy. So they might try to spin this off on you, and you might end up, being the one burdened by it. So try to do everything you can in the classroom. When you exhaust that, then you move to management. I would go to other co-teachers, then management, then parents, and so on. They have the director or the principal or whatever, and as soon as that guy or lady shows up, they're like, "Hey, let me see, invite." You know what I mean? They're already like, "Whoa, sorry, we definitely listen to you." Um, so that's all I have for you today. Are there any questions, any concerns that I can answer? I want to send you my feedback in the chat room. Not my feedback, sorry, my email. Okay, if you want to reach me, you have any questions? I love to cooperate with other teachers, different programs. You have any problems? If you want to bounce some ideas, I'd be happy to do so.
Thank you for your very inspiring presentation to us and help us to know how to manage the class for the young learner. And also, it's very helpful. We can apply it to more of the class. It's any level that we need it. It's helpful for very careful the switch that you repaired it. I think that it's very applicable for every teacher, right? So I in the time waiting for the order response or making the
Cool.
concerning question to go in, I see the question from one the participant here, the audience from Huy Vương. He made the question that how can we explain the thing that the young children, young learners cannot fully understand in English, and I refer not to you the Vietnamese one. Vietnamese in
In class.
class. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Thank you, Boong. Um, I remember 80% of communication is nonverbal. Okay, they see your upset face. You show them, you move the chair, whatever it is. Okay, you can use body language. The expression on your face, the body language you use, pictures. Okay, whatever you have to. All right. Um, you uh, you should do that. Okay, if you don't want to use Vietnamese in class, that's fine. Um, I personally I use Vietnamese for discipline things that interrupt the classroom. Okay, but if some schools do not allow you to use Vietnamese in class, they don't want you to, and things like that. And I've been there, so that's what I do. Okay, I show them and I say, look, no, okay, this is not good. Okay, and I have them repeat the vocabulary to me so that they understand what is it that they're doing and what is it that is not good. Trang, I see you have your hand raised. You have a question?
Oh, hi. Thank you for your sharing and appreciate it a lot. It's another interesting presentation that we have experienced so far. So my question is like what can you recommend us some kind of apps or kind of links or activities that keep the one-on-one class more engaged? Because I find the kid, if when it comes to one-on-one class online for the kid and how to keep them like engaged and feeling excited all the way through during 1 or 2 hour lesson. How could be possible? And then, do you have any experience teaching one-on-one adult class, December? Thank you.
Yeah, I've had experience with all. I've been doing this for 10 years, so whatever you think, I've probably done it. um, so for teaching one-on-one online for kids to keep them entertained, um, I try to gamify a lot. Like that thing that I shared with you a link of word wall. Have you had a chance to use that already?
Yes, yes, I did.
Okay. Okay, so I use Wordwall a lot, and the kids love it because you just make one thing. I make a quiz, then it moves on to the game and the other thing, and I use the games as rewards. Okay, so I give them something they don't like, something they like, something they don't like, something they like. A lot of the times that keeps them engaged. The Kahoot, you
Yeah.
can play a Kahoot with them. There are also a lot of tools online. So if you just type a game for this or a game for that, and I do it very situational. But my main go-tos are Kahoot, WordWall, such a hard word to pronounce, and Drosaurus. I can make private rooms on Drosaurus. Another thing I use is Whiteboard. For writing assignments, I have students do this and then paste it onto Whiteboard. Okay, Whiteboard. I have a board and I see what my students are writing. So it gives me a lot of management, even with your independent student. Okay. Um, this is more for bigger classes, though. I know you were asking. You were asking about individual ones. So individual ones, you can share your screen with them, and you can manage them a lot. But remember, something they don't like, something they like, don't like, something they like. Okay, something they have to work for, something they enjoy. So you do a little bit of trade with those, and I try to do it intrinsic. I try to find what they like to learn. So what the things that they like, if I can, anytime that I can, the target language using a topic that they like, I do that whenever I can because if it's something that they like, whatever you give them, they're gonna be in there. Yeah, Transformers, Doraemon. Yeah, that's right. And whatever you read about that, you talk about that, they're gonna be all into it. Like so, it's something that also works. So getting to know your students, their likes and dislikes. Find books on their topics, and um, there's this website that I find a lot of books. VN. I don't know. This one gets blocked anytime you try to share it. Let's see if it shares here. I think it went through. Okay. Technically, that's an illegal website. I don't know if I should be sharing that here, but it has every book imaginable. Okay. And it's free to download. You get to download 10 books a month. So as soon as you find your student likes this or likes that, download a book on their topic. All right, and try to do revolve everything around the classroom on a lot of things that they like. So that's it for me. Any other questions? I hope
Okay,
that.
sorry, I have a question, right? You know that the COVID-19 had affect a lot of us, right? Especially for the we have to, I mean, change from the offline teaching to the online teaching. So with the classroom management, I think that one of importance here is the student really need to joining our I mean our lecture online lecture. So how can what are the challenge that we normally meet when the student really is not rich enough or is not really enough when the student do not really to join in our lecture. It that sometimes students feels a little bit or sometimes we cannot talk to student, we cannot do anything, we just look on the cam only, or student may play
Yeah,
the game or the toy or something before we can talk them, we can add them to back, even
sure.
they can mute out our sound, the teacher sound
Hmm.
also.
Yeah, and that's a problem that I also have, and I don't have a single answer that works for every situation because everyone is a little bit different. Um, I try to win them over from day one. Also, for example, when you have them online on day one, usually
Yeah,
that day one they're gonna be more attentive to you because they don't really know you yet.
yeah.
Okay, so you need to set the day one is so important to set the precedent for everything that's gonna come. Okay, so on day one, try to get to know them as much as possible. Try to get a lot of the topics that interest them. Make notes about your students. um, as you're moving along, you see it's like, oh, I'm losing him. I'm losing him. Okay. So if you see you're losing a student, change the activity. Just stop where you are, change the activity to something else. So you should not prepare what the lesson is, but over prepare. Okay. I have a thing that I that I jokingly call a nuclear option. Okay. So I have a nuclear option. It all else fails. Um, if the game doesn't work, the kid doesn't listen, nothing happens, sometimes I just play a video and watch it with them and talk to them a little bit online. You know what I mean? At least we're doing something and we're producing language. That is what I do, and I don't succeed every time. So, this is so new to us, right? It's such a new thing that it's a work in progress, especially for me. I've researched online, and everybody says the same thing. What works for this one doesn't work for that one, and what works for that doesn't work for the other one. So it's a tricky thing, and learn from your students. Do the best that you can on day one to get to know them and set the precedent. And as thing comes up, take notes. Okay. um, Involving the parents, depending on who you're working with. You might lose a customer. It's like, oh, well, this kid is worthless. He's not going to learn anything. So you don't want to lose that customer either. So do everything you can in your power.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for your answering my concerning. I got some idea for my teaching. So, and another question from the audience of the participant in our room. Do you have the question? One, Mr. Pierre, to have to say his idea. So, can you share with us some of, I mean, some of the software that getting the student to involve into your lecture, especially for the young learner. I found that the young learner were very little, right? So they cannot concentrate for the long period of time, right? So that we must be trained, and the software is sometimes very helpful. So can you help us to share some
Absolutely.
of your subsection,
You
right?
know, I don't work for World War and I don't get money from them, but it's just great.
Yeah,
So
just great.
um, so look at these are all my activities right here. So look at this. With the young learners, you have to change the activity. So first, they do the quiz. They finish the quiz, then they do the maze. With the exact same thing. And with my young learners, every time I'm online, I'm always changing the activity. Nothing lasts for more than 5 minutes. Okay, unless we're doing a test, nothing lasts for more than 5 minutes. 5 minutes is as most as we spend on anything. And as soon as they produce the language for me, then they get a game. And I can keep going. Then we move on to the wheel. And with the young ones, um as the you can do the same thing with a different view, with a different look, and they'll still keep engaged. Let me show you something else too. When you do Kahoot.
Okay.
Well, let me show you something real quick. When you do Kahoot with young learners, you can still do it. I know they're not as technologically savvy, but you can do under preview. Okay, so you can have them yell out the answers or text them to you. Okay, I know a lot of people, they told me it's like, yeah, for the young ones, um, it's difficult. So you just go into preview mode and you can do this with the whole class. Okay, you can ask one student, you can ask them to yell out the answer, you can ask them to put it in the chat room, and I answer right here. Okay, so that's how to use Kahoot with very young learners. Or I do,
Okay, so thank
class
you.
class five.
I think that we have another question that we answer, and also maybe the last question before we have to come back to our main room. So the question from Đỗ Thuyên, Đỗ Thuyên, like she has the question that how to encourage the student from 18 to 20 years old to turn on their camera all the time, and sometimes they just do at the very early at the beginning, and then they turn off. I also meet that the situation. I mean the situation like her. So can you say your technique or your SY to this
Sure.
situation?
One more thing. Day one. Okay? Day one, the students need to know that they cannot mess with you. All right. So on day one, when they come in, they still don't know you. Especially 18 and 20-year-olds, they're going to try to manipulate you. Okay. They're going to try to see what they can get away with. And you need to let them know that they cannot get away with that. So on day one, I request them here and here. I need to be able to see everything. All right. And they need to know that I just kick them out of the classroom. Okay. So I put them in the waiting room. Okay. If the problem gets serious enough, they don't want to get in trouble with their parents either. So you can use that as leverage. If it gets bad enough, you kick them out and you tell your parents to call the school and let the school let you back into class. They're gonna get scolded. Okay. They're gonna be like, why do I have to call the school? What's going on here? They don't want that to happen. Okay. And as soon as that happens, you need to follow through.
Totally
Okay.
agree with your assessment there, because you need to make those rules start from day one, so that is intrinsic in them. So I don't usually often agree with, oh, weak Wi-Fi, sir, I can't switch the video on the camera feed on, blah blah blah. Okay, but I go for the press ups with the boys, and I don't know what they call it, the girls. So I make them do punishment if they don't come in and turn on the camera when they will come in. So we do different things, but I think it's important that you set up your classroom instruction really clearly, what your expectation of them from the word go. Okay, and we have a saying in teaching in the UK: "Don't smile to Christmas." That's what we say.
Exactly. Yeah. So guys, if anything, if you get anything from what I said today, is that day one is very important to set the precedent for everything that's gonna come. Okay. So the better you do on day one, and you know what, you have to get better over time. Okay. So you're gonna mess it up a few times. So try to do the best that you can day one. Set rules, set expectations, set a routine. Um, Behaviors. What are acceptable and unacceptable behaviors? Make sure they agree, they understand, they know what they mean. Okay, and the better you get at doing this on day one, the more successful your classes will be, and the less you're going to have to deal with behavioral problems. Dang, you had another question?
Okay. Okay, so actually, I have no question now, but then I'm just having some my little experience that how on how to help the student turn on their camera. I know I'm not, you know, it's supposed to you guys like who are expert in teaching, but that is my little experience I have learned so far. Would love to share, if you don't mind.
Please do so. I don't care how much experience you had. If I can learn from you, I love to.
Okay, thank you for that. Well, one of the ways that I will set the background theme, for example, if the lesson will be about food, I will inform the students that on the next section, they will set their background, right? And when you have your background about food, and they have to turn on the camera so that not only them, but then the whole class able to share their favorite food or what kind of food that they completely fall over. And the second one that I do is that if they're kind of afraid of appearing in front of the class online, then they can specifically on a class in application or Zoom. Yeah, we have kind of an icon functions that they can switch instead of they're showing their face, they can choose their icon that they like. So it's another way that they can we can encourage them to turn on the camera in a nice and encouragement way. That's all. Hope it's
Cool.
helped.
Hey, that was awesome. Yeah,
Yes,
and I
very
let my
awesome.
students do that for sure. Thank you for
Okay,
sharing.
so thank
You're
you
welcome.
for your sharing, and your sharing also the lot. I mean, presentation in our room right now, and I got the signal from the organizers that telling us must be come back to the main room in for the closing ceremony. So once again, I would like to say thank you all the presenter and all of the participants, the audience, and who had contribute your question and also listen and sharing with us with your talk and your thinking about the topic is fostering the math science in teaching in English and teaching also for L and also with the classroom medicine from the middle Pierre. And thank you very much. And I think that I will post here the link for your joining. Joining the closing today. So I think we have to join at before 11:50, right? Um, Now, please, so say thank you, and we have to leave the room right now to turn into the main room. Okay, sorry for the interrupting you, but we must do so. So thank you again, Fire, Mr. Wen, and Dr. Hai. All of the participants must be turning the closing ceremony in the link I had to us. So thank you very much.